So Maria, what can people do to protect themselves if they're in an area where there's currently an outbreak of COVID?
So thanks, Margaret, for this question. This is a really important question because there's many things that you can do as an individual to protect yourself and to protect your family against this novel coronavirus. The first thing is very simple. The first thing is to wash your hands regularly. And it sounds very simple, it doesn't sound very exciting, but it is incredibly important that you make sure that you wash your hands with soap and water, and make sure you get your kids to wash their hands as well. And if you don't have soap and water, you can use an alcohol-based rub. That's the first thing. The second thing that you can do is what we call as practicing respiratory etiquette. And what that means is when you sneeze or if you cough, that you do that in a folded elbow, and you sneeze or cough into your elbow, or you use a tissue, and then you throw that tissue away, and then you make sure you wash your hands. And the third thing that is really important is to educate yourself. So make sure that you have the latest information about novel coronavirus, about COVID-19, from your parents, from WHO, from trusted sources, and make sure that you know what the latest information is about this. This is a rapidly changing situation, and every single day we are learning more and more about this virus. And so the more we learn, the more we want you to know about this. And by educating yourself, by knowing more about this, you can make sure that you protect yourself and you protect your family.
But it's not so easy, really, to always wash your hands, to keep those hands clean. And there's another secret, isn't there, Maria? How does the virus get into your body? Whereabouts is it?
But what we know about this virus is how it transmits between people is through close contact and through respiratory droplets, which means you have to be close to one another within a meter or two, which is 3 to 6 feet. And if I were to sneeze right now on you, or cough on you right now, I would pass some droplets to you. And those droplets could go into your eye, they can go into your mouth, into your nose. So you have to make sure that if you do cough, you cover your mouth so that those particles, those droplets, those little droplets don't actually infect someone else.
So when should people be wearing a mask?
So there's a lot of people, WHO recommends that you wear a mask if you're sick. So if you have respiratory symptoms, what you do is you wear a mask, and there's important ways in which you put the mask on and off, and we have some good videos that show a proper way to put it on and off, but you're using a mask to protect other people. So if you have symptoms, and you wear a mask, then you protect yourself from getting those droplets onto other people.
What symptoms should people be looking out for?
So the symptoms that you should be looking out for are respiratory symptoms, so signs and symptoms. So a cough, a dry cough, shortness of breath. Very few people actually have a runny nose or sneeze. I've just recently returned from China. I've just spent 2 weeks in China working with incredible colleagues that are working very hard to really understand this outbreak. And what they've learned from more than 70,000 cases in China is that very few people actually have runny nose or actually sneeze. Most people will have a fever. Most people will have a cough, and then some people will feel generally unwell. They'll have maybe some muscle pain, and what we do worry about is anyone that has shortness of breath or chest pain, to make sure that they seek health care very quickly.
That's great. The next question is there any association between the flu and between this COVID virus?
So that's a very good question too. I get that question quite a lot. So COVID-19 is not influenza. It is a respiratory virus, and so it's very difficult to determine in the early stages of illness of whether or not you have flu, or if you have COVID-19, or if you have another respiratory pathogen that's circulating around. But it is not flu. And the reason we know this is because we know it transmits a little bit differently in terms of, who is most affected, who has the higher risk of being infected. It's a very serious disease, as flu is. Mm-hmm. And so for COVID-19, the majority of people, about 80% of people who get infected with COVID-19 will have a mild disease and will recover. But there is about 20% of people that will go on to develop severe disease and will require some advanced care in a hospital. Many people who have had severe disease are now going on to recover. So it doesn't mean that if you have a severe disease that you will die.
Can virus particles survive inside packages?
So that's a very good question. We've seen that a lot, and we actually have that on our Mythbusters, which is on our website. But what we know from other coronaviruses like SARS and like MERS is that on packages, on certain like cardboard materials, that it doesn't last very long. And so no, so it won't stay viable, it won't be alive, the virus won't be alive for a very long period of time. What is important though on certain other surfaces like plastic or like in healthcare facilities, that the virus can be inactivated or killed, if you will, by disinfectants. And so as I'm sure everyone has seen, when you clean your house, you clean in healthcare facilities, it will inactivate the virus.
So if you want to know more about disinfectants and disinfecting your surfaces, go to the WHO site, go in and look at the guidance. You'll find it under coronavirus, and you'll find all that information there.
It's wonderful.
I'm so glad and excited, but that's what we're here for, to share information and to answer your questions. And I've got another interesting question. Can it spread through drinking water?
Not that I'm aware of. No, it cannot spread through drinking water. As it spreads through close contact and through droplet, as I mentioned earlier, but not through drinking water. No.
And it's a repeat of an. Okay, we've got many more questions, but we've run out of time. So we're going to keep on repeating this. Keep a watch, and we will be there to answer your questions. Thank you so much.